Hey guys, it's Mr. Wulfy, and we're totally gonna play some Demon's Crest. Alright, so this is like my favorite game ever, pretty much. Like it's definitely on the top 5 forever, for all time. And I don't know, I guess the first episode I should explain why, because the first episode's not that complex, because it's mostly just tutorial stuff. So here we are. If you saw the opening video, then you know that we're Firebrand, which is just the American name. He's actually like the Red Armor or something. And that's like, he's a character from the Ghouls and Ghosts series, or the Ghosts and Goblins series. And he was he's actually a pretty annoying bad guy in the Ghouls and Ghosts game. He was kind of a recurring character, but it turns out that he's actually kind of a hero as far as demons are concerned. And he has his own game series. The first two of which is like Gargoyle's Quest and Gargoyle's Quest 2. And then this is the third game in the series. The first one was on the Game Boy and the second one was on the NES. And so when they came to the SNES, it got like a huge upgrade as far as graphics and everything else is concerned. So it kind of has its own thing. It doesn't really feel, the first two feel pretty much the same as each other, but this one's like its whole new world. Let's see, so it's got a couple of main gimmicks that it kind of, you do pretty much the entire game. The first of which is I'm going to show you here, the flying mechanic, which isn't so much a flying mechanic as it is a hovering mechanic. So you just, you jump twice and you can fly in the air. And you can't go up or down. I mean, you can go down by letting loose of the button. So we killed Samulo, the demon dragon. Is his name Samulo? I believe it's Samulo. And he was the dragon that had the Heaven's Crest at the beginning of the game, or the intro video that we had to kill. So he's dead now, for reals this time, I guess. All right, so the music in this game is fan-freaking-tastic, just so you know. It's one of my favorite video game soundtracks of all time. Like, even though this is my favorite game, I actually do have games that I like the music better, but this is just like, it's one of the huge selling points. Oh, this is another mechanic I need to emphasize right now, but we'll learn more about it later. You have the ability to cling to walls. Now, you can't climb or descend the wall. You pretty much just stay in the same spot, but you can jump and then re-cling, which will allow you to climb up walls. And we'll get to that later. There's actually a lot of platforming elements regarding that. So right now, and I'm not going to go to the main screen just yet, I'm just going to get through this little area, because this is just tutorial type stuff. It's just teaching us how to, the mechanics of the game. Very similar to, but not quite as good as, the Mega Man X first opening level, like the intro level. Which, if you've seen Sequelitis, you know he did a whole expose about just how awesome that level was and how it worked. And this kind of achieves the same thing. It teaches you a couple of important mechanics, because, I mean, look at that. You can't possibly jump that, so that teaches you the cling mechanic. You learn a little bit about the fly mechanic from the first battle. You kind of get the gist of how to shoot. And you learn how to do headbutts, which is very important, because actually this bad guy right here, we have to headbutt to awaken. He's a big gargoyle thing. He's called the Hippogriff, and we will be fighting him several times throughout the game. Different versions of him, I guess. Here's something very important. You can only have one shot on screen at a time, normally. So you can kind of cheese bad guys by getting really close, because then your projectile disappears faster, so you can shoot faster. So you just get right up on them and unload on them. And that works for most bosses. There's a few bosses that actually have lag time in between when you can effectively hit them. But the Hippogriff is a pretty simple boss. There's nothing to him, really. He just does these 2 different moves. And that's about it. So you just dominate him with your normal fire attack. Smash these skulls, these skeletons in the background. Alright, so he turns back into this, and if the fight went on long enough, he would actually have turned back into this and healed up, which is kind of a tough thing. Anyway, you headbutt him again and he smashes this time. Sets on fire and explodes. It's kind of freaking metal. This game is like that, though. So basically, the gist of this game, the story's kind of under the radar kind of thing. You kind of get it. It doesn't really describe it. It's more like the story is part of the gameplay kind of thing. You just gotta kind of assume a lot of story elements. Just a second. Because of the lack of description of said story elements. I'm sorry, I was thinking about how to handle that situation there. Let's see. There's a lot of inference and kind of think of it like Dark Souls or Demon's Souls. Just, you know how like a lot of the story is told through where items are placed and where enemies are and that kind of thing. This is kind of a similar situation. That was a urn we just picked up, by the way. That is a very useful item later. You get... I'll go ahead and show you the pause screen. So this is the menu where we have the RPG elements come into play right here. And it's kind of like a Legend of Zelda or a Mega Man kind of video game. Like, Metroidvania is the tongue-in-cheek description of such a game type, but it's not really a good description. I don't like using that terminology really, because there's such a wide variety of games that fit into that category, and it just kind of makes some games less relevant by calling it that. Anyway, the point is, you have there are 6 crests throughout the game. There's of course the Fire Crest, and then 5 more that we can pick up. Now the Fire Crest is broken into 5 pieces, and we have 1 piece of it. It's just a simple fire. It's just like our normal fireball. Mostly we get these by killing bosses, similar to a Mega Man game. And certain bosses are sensitive to certain attack types, just like in Mega Man. Now there's spells and potions that you can buy from vendors, and most of them are pretty useless. About the only ones that are useful are, there's a spell that causes like a big kill everything on screen thing, and then there's a potion that heals you all the way, and that's the only 2 I ever really buy. Then there's talismans, which we'll get into that more later, but it's basically secondary power-ups that are, what's the word? Where it's like, it's just something that's in the background and you don't notice it. I can't think of the word I'm trying to think of. Anyway, they're useful, but they're not so important that you really have to have them to beat the game or anything. But we do need them because we're doing a 100% item run, and there's a couple of them that will make the overall game a whole lot easier. And I am slowly sucking at this. Let's see. Let's just dominate this part. Oh, passive. They have passive abilities. Okay, that's what I'm trying to think of. Yeah. So there's a wall here that we can't break yet. We'll get an item that allows us to break it later on. And we're about to fight the first real boss. Hippogriff was just kind of a mid-boss. Here he is. And Samulo, I guess, was sort of a boss. But this guy right here is a real boss. This is Arma. And I'm not going to read this because I'm terrible at the old make funny voices kind of thing. But, basically, he is a general employed by Phalanx in his army, and his sole purpose really is to destroy me. Like, he can't stand me. So Phalanx gives him crests and pieces of crests in order to come kill me. Unfortunately for him, we are very good at our jobs and we can dominate him. We used to have essentially what the job he now has is... I worded that terribly, didn't I? Okay, so he's an easy fight as well. This is still early in the game, so it takes it easy on you. But this game has a massive learning curve. Like, after the first level, you pretty much... the kid gloves come off. You know, thus does the true Demon's Crest begin. Because there are some very tough bosses in this game, and if you don't do things in a certain order, I mean, it's not a set order that you have to do things in by any means, but there's definitely the easiest routes to take and things like that. Like certain abilities that are good against certain bosses, that kind of thing, like Mega Man. And it's possible, I guess, to do a full Firebrand run. I've never done it, but I mean, you can, and it'd be really freaking hard because there's some bosses that I don't see how I could possibly beat them with just a normal fire attack. But anyway, so Phalanx gets about half dead, and then he's like, hey, yeah, we're gonna fight again, don't worry about it. And then he runs away, so that's cool. And then he drops something. What is this? What could this be? Shazam is the Crest of Earth. And you can morph into a G gargoyle. Now, when you have the crest on, it turns you into what it calls gargoyles. Because, I mean, the original thing is gargoyles, and they changed it to demons for some reason. I don't know. When really, you know, it was like they called it the ghoul world or something in the other games. But anywho, the first place we're going to go is this town here. And the headbutt ability is a very important mechanic because it's just your default secondary ability, which every form of Phalanx or form of Firebrand has a secondary ability. This and I believe two others are headbutts. Actually, well, one of them is a headbutt exclusively, and one of them is a headbutt, and he can do other stuff too. But the headbutt is your generic thing, and then you have a lot of mini games involving it and things like that. And it's a very important mechanic for platforming later on. But this little guy that sits here by this fountain will talk to you and kind of describe your different crest forms. And let's activate the Crest of Earth. Now, the Crest of Earth, we can do this like cool dash attack and smash stuff, which is kind of cool. And his attack is very useful, especially against these bosses we're about to go fight. Basically, he explains the dash mechanic. Now, these two doors, this door right here is the spell vendor, and this door right here is, there's like a guy that describes talismans to you, but we don't need to talk to them just yet. Now, there's a wall up here that you'll notice you can't break with your earth powers, but we'll get to that later. Now, I can't jump up there, and I can't cling to it either, so that's an unbreakable wall for me right now. With the earth ability, you can do super jumps too, but I mean, who needs a super jump when you have the fly mechanic anyway? Actually, later on, it is kind of useful. So, I'm gonna just break the windows that I want to break real quick. Try to get a little bit of gold, because money is actually kind of relevant for several things, especially the mini games. You have to pay for them, and the mini games are how you get a couple of heart piece thingies and that sort of thing, as well as you got to buy spells and potions with them. Okay, so moving on. There's really no right or wrong way to go about the order of operations here. There's just enemies that are going to be a heck of a lot easier when you have certain abilities and certain abilities that you don't have. Now, those fish guys are pretty tough, so I just go ahead and knock them out and get it over with. Now, what we're going to do here is take this certain route. It takes us down into the catacombs, I guess is what you call them. I can't remember if it's called the catacombs or not. These fish guys are really tough, so I try to get them out of the way. Stupid ghost, no! Okay, so one thing I need to describe about the ground gargoyle is the fact that when his attack is shot while on the ground, it does a lot more damage than when it's shot through the air like that. So I guess that's like a, you know, a weakness of his or special ability, which makes a lot of the early bad guys actually easy because of the amount of damage it does, and it's actually a good way to kill a couple of the early bosses. Crap, I screwed that up. Now I have to use it against these guys because, of course, being fire, they are immune to fire. It only makes sense, right? I hate those little bats. They can be really, really annoying because they respawn easily. And there's just so many of them. Alright, this part right here I need to be fire. You know who's boss. Stop it! Reload. See, that's why bats are annoying. They get to where you can't fight them. Get at angles. And those aren't really, I guess, bats. Those are like eye bats or something. There's some actual bats we have to fight here in a minute. Alright, this part right here is very important to be the fire gargoyle. If the lights ever go out, those bats up on the roof come and attack you. So it's good to keep lighting them up, which you can't do as the ground gargoyle, so you have to keep switching back and forth. It's just more stuff that's teaching you the switch mechanic. If the bats ever get on you, then they start slowly eating your health away, and it hurts, like, it makes you stunned too, so it's really hard to get away from them. And you can't hit them while they're on you. These stupid ghost dudes eat the fire, which is very frustrating, and you can't kill them with fire. So, it's like a sad face thing. Anyway, alright, so here is the first, probably one of the tougher bosses just because of him being this early in the game. And it's very easy for me to screw this up, so I gotta be careful. But his name is Avnunu? I think his name is Avnunu, and it probably means something. It's Av is like Latin for something involving eyeballs. Anyway, he's a big slime blob monster that has eyeballs. And his weakness is the earth gargoyle. That's why we came here first. Go ahead and get this out of the way, because we get something very important by killing him. Very, very important. So we gotta shoot each of these little eyes 3 times if it's the jump shot. But as you can see, if it's the ground shot, it does more damage. Haha, I knew he was coming. I didn't know where from. Yeah. Huh, I get the health and then I get hit. Nice. Now they retreat back into the slime periodically just because they're jerks. Dadgummit. Sorry I'm not talking much. This is actually a frustrating fight. Alright, after you kill the last eyeball, then Avnunu himself comes flying out of there and he's all like, "Bleh, I'm a big blob monster." But he's not that tough if you use the earth gargoyle and oh my gosh, and know what you're doing, which I didn't at the time. Right in the eyeball, yeah, suck it. Alright. And then he retreats back into his slime body and blows up. It's kind of cool. Everything pretty much dies similar to that. Some of them actually have pretty awesome deaths. But now we get this little orb here, and it is a piece of the fire crest called Buster. Now, Buster is going to be one of our main things that we use early here in the game. And the first thing we're going to do actually is go back here, which this is the first area. The Coliseum, I think is the name of it. And we're going to swap over to the Buster. Oh, swap over to the Buster. And it's a little green, kind of electrical fireball thing. It makes a cool sound. But you'll notice you can shoot 2 at a time. Now it does the same basic amount of damage as the fireball. Certain bad guys are actually resistant and immune to it, because I think it's electric by nature. But it has the ability to break certain stone blocks that we couldn't break earlier. So we're going to go use it to get that item that we couldn't earlier that was behind the wall right before we fought Arma. And we will be there in just a second. I'm going to go easy mode on this part right here and just fly over everything. Should take a second. Another cool thing is that you can actually break items while on the same level as the item, as opposed to having to aim down like we had to with the fire, like fly down below it and stuff. That kind of got annoying. It is so cold in my room, guys. You have no idea. Jeez. It's, well, I mean, I'm sure some of you do. Some of you are frozen in the house and everything, and that's not right. But I don't know why my room is cold. We've theorized that it's something to do with my window. Maybe it's not, like, up to par as far as the ceiling is gone. Not ceiling as in roof, but ceiling as in the wall being sealed. Alright, so get another heart piece thingy. Wall breaks. Okay. And that's all we really had to do. To get the best ending, and I don't know if I'll probably show you all the endings, but I'll go for the best one and then, you know, show you the others, how you get them and everything. But basically, you have to get all the items. You have to get all the crests to get the best ending. No, you have to get all the items and the crest to get the best ending. And then there's like a good ending and then a bad ending. And then like a very bad ending. I don't know. There's several endings. I'll show you all of them. It's pretty cool because most games at the time didn't have anything quite like that. Especially on the SNES, it was all just, you know, you did everything and here's the end. Break. Alright, so I wonder if I have enough money to buy a potion. Because if I do, it might be handy to have a health potion against this boss. Yeah, ginseng. Okay, ginseng restores all of your vitality. Alright, and I'll show you how to use it in a second. Now I'm playing on the traditional SNES controller, so I select it, and you can see it up there in the middle of my inventory. The third bar is actually for talismans, which I haven't done yet. And actually, I'm gonna go do a cheap thing here. Being fire, water hurts me, so I'm gonna go down here and get this secret urn. And I'm gonna die because, I mean, you're just probably gonna die anyway. And you have to actively activate the ginseng to have it heal you. But anyway, I got that urn. Don't worry, when you die, you keep everything you got up until that point, money and stuff like that included. So I have that urn I just picked up. So we're gonna do that a couple of times to get things faster. Speedrun tactics and things. And we're gonna go back to the area we were last, actually, before we do anything else. Because now we can break a couple of walls that we couldn't earlier down there. So we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna go fight one more boss, and then I think I'll be done for this segment of the show. Because it's just a good stopping point. I mean, we'll have beaten several enemies, several bosses, gotten a couple of crests, and a lot of stuff that would have taken up an episode or so to get if we did it at the time we were supposed to. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm just jabbing on, you know how it is. So the Buster Crest, by the way, does not activate these fires. So I'm just gonna try to get this done quick. It's down here, actually. No bat. Okay. And it's another heart piece. Okay. So now that we have that, take the shortcut here. Can't see anything, but I kind of have a memory of everything, so yep. I'm I'm just that awesome. I have it all committed to memory. Anyway, since old dude is gone, this little section is empty, so we just beat the level again. Alright, so we're gonna go back one more time. And we're gonna go to a place past that little statue we keep smacking and going into the door behind. And we're gonna go to the real final section of this particular, I guess you call it a level. And it is the graveyard. The graveyard is not a good place to be. I kind of hate it. It's actually like a really lame segment, and the boss is really tough if you don't know how to beat him effectively. And effectively is, we're going to just spam the crap out of the ground gargoyle and hope for the best. You're going to see what I mean when I get there, but it's basically the Gravelord Nito. I mean, he's straight, that's what he looks like. He's got a big giant sword arm hand. Actually, this game, Demon's Crest, or Dark Souls, whatever, and Demon's Souls, I guess just it being, you know, gothic symbolism and everything, everything kind of has this feeling of this, you know, it's similar. Alright, these hands grab you, but they don't hurt you. You just skate past them, or you can shoot them and they go away, but anyway. Anyway, you'll see what I mean when I get to him, but he looks like so much like Gravelord Nito, it's weird. You know, heart piece. Now these guys you can't hit from the front with this particular ability. You can hit them from the back, and it kills them. I think that's the only secret part in this level, and the rest is just getting through to the boss. So when you hit him like that, it doesn't do anything. Like that does. Alright, we got... it's a head. I forgot about those. We got enough heart containers that we should be able to beat this fight pretty easy. But his weakness is the ground gargoyle. And it's actually pretty simple to smash his face in with it. All you gotta do is just spam it. See what I mean though? He looks a lot like Nito. Just a big skeleton with a bone sword arm. He hits really hard, so we're just gonna keep doing this and hope for the best. Alright, I'm gonna have to use my ginseng, unfortunately. But it's totally worth, because we can just buy that back. Alright. Trying to fight him legit takes a while with the fire and the buster, so I just do that. And we get another health thingy, and this area is beat, so we won't be going back here or there again, except to go to the town to buy a few things from time to time. Now, the next place to go is, you know, you can go to either one of these. I think I will go here next, but we'll do that next game. And notice the beauty of the Mode 7 graphics. See, there's a secret here somewhere. Oh, it was right there. He's over here. It's somewhere there's a secret. I'll find it later, but anyway. Now this game features a autosave, or not an autosave, I mean a password saving ability thing. And the only way to activate, or to unlock the password is to die, and then like go to game over. And then it's like, oh, well, you're done, so let's go over here and do that. So we're gonna go do that. We're just gonna go drown ourselves. Glub glub. It's gonna be okay, don't worry. You should be fireproof as Firebrand. I think you're a little bit resistant to it, but you're not fireproof. Alright, so we're just gonna sink down here and drown. Can't even shoot fire down underwater. It's pretty cool. This game's pretty smart in that aspect. It has like... You'll see what I mean at another point. When we get more elements, you'll see just how they work as far as everything goes. So, go to end, and that is the password that'll take us to this exact... how much health, what items we had, everything like that. So, with that in mind, I will see you next time, guys, and we will go probably beat another handful of bosses, get a couple of crests. And this should be a 5 or so episode Let's Play. But I'm glad you showed up. Hope you had fun. This has been Mr. Wulfy. Love you guys. Peace out.